So welcome to Dialogue with Dawn Live. This is a great way to get your questions answered and to have a bit of interaction with me. My time is pretty short nowadays, and I'm not doing as many private sessions as I used to. Well, before, that's all I did was private sessions. So now I'm doing a lot of virtual online courses and the dialogue, the mental training on demand, and what else? I've got the live trainings that are happening at my Dawn Grant Mind Training School, and as well as abroad. Of course, I got MindMaster, my app and website that you can make your own hypnosis audios. So lots of good stuff, my book and many more books to come. But all that on top of owning a shotgun club has made my time really short. So this is one way that I can have direct contact with you and answer your questions. One of the things I've definitely learned over all of these years is it's hard for me to answer email questions because, well, if you're doing my online course, you'll see I'm very long-winded, and there's a lot of detail to answering questions. And it's hard to put all that into an email, but not only that, there's a lot of information. And if I can talk for an hour or an hour and a half in one online course lesson, or even one live lesson, then on a particular topic, then it's definitely difficult to put that into an email response. So each Dialogue with Dawn Live, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into some of my training and some of my information, and then also answer specific questions. So I thought for today, I would go over very first and foremost, one of the most common questions, which isn't even really a mental training question, it's an IT question. So a lot of people doing my online course, but also my buying the hypnosis audios, which are instant downloads, can have some technical problems or difficulties. So right now, at the time of this recording, you can buy a hypnosis audio that's a download. They're too big to email. The files are too big to email. So they're hosted on the website in the cloud, and they hold all that. Actually, right now I have about 300 gigabytes of information in the cloud of my programs that are virtual. And I just purchased another 300 gigabytes because by the time I have all of my online courses finished and continue to add hypnosis audios, I'm going to be at 600 gigabytes. But the point is for you that it's not as easy as just emailing you your product. And obviously we could rewind 10, 15, 20 years and I could snail mail you the product. But even that became tricky because I used to sell CDs. And whether I was at an event selling a CD or mailing a CD, that was the thing. But CDs, as you well know, are becoming old news. You can't even buy a computer anymore that has a disc player in it. So, I went through a little period of time there where I was still doing the CDs, and people would listen on an old computer or an old disc player. But I considered transitioning to thumb drives, and I still may do that at some point, just to give an option to people who aren't very tech savvy. But those little thumb drives that you can plug into your computer is something that I could look at doing. It's just a lot more complicated and slower. So with the hypnosis audios being instant downloads, you don't necessarily get your hands on it. They're not mailed to you directly, but they come as an email instantly with a hyperlink. And that hyperlink, it's missed by a lot of people. So whether it's missed in the original thank you for your purchase email, or and follow-up emails. I think a lot of people are still thinking they're going to get something in the mail. So, you click on that hyperlink and it takes you to your own page where whatever products you've purchased, you'll see there. If you've purchased 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 hypnosis audios, you'll see them there. So here's the next step from my side as the business owner is, well, how many copies do I want to give somebody, right? So you're purchasing 1 hypnosis audio, but not everybody's tech savvy. So, and not everybody gets on it right away. So I try to incentivize people to get your download right away. Like, you just bought this, you want it, it's going to help you. Let's get you moving on it. So it says you have 1 week to download this audio, and you have 2 attempts, and it's not really attempts, they're 2 downloads. So you actually get 2 downloads. Just not everybody knows that they've actually downloaded. So with the system, the platform that I'm using right now, it gives you an option of using Dropbox or downloading straight to your computer. Now, not everybody knows what Dropbox is, nor are they familiar with it. So Dropbox is as a cloud storage website program. You can get a good amount of storage from them for free. And it's one way to download my product and keep it in one spot. So then Dropbox is dropbox.com, but it's also an app that can be put on your phone. It's a little Dropbox app, and you click on it and you log in, and there's all the products that you've ever bought from me, and if you wanted to use any other storage. I actually personally use Dropbox on my cell phone and my computers because it keeps all of my files. So all of my documents for my businesses and all of images, pictures are in one spot, and I can access from this cell phone and this cell phone and this tablet and this computer and then that computer, just because I can log into Dropbox from any of those. So it's not a horrible way to do it. You could use Dropbox from the platform I provide as a way to download your hypnosis audio. But the other option is downloading, it says download, it doesn't say to Dropbox. That was tricky for a little while because with Apple devices up until very recently, if you had an Apple iPhone or an iPad or well, I guess that's it, you could not save, you couldn't download that file, you couldn't download that audio straight to your cell phone because you couldn't save anything like that straight to your cell phone. There was no place for it to go. Now with Android devices, they could, as it's very Microsoft friendly, and people could, say, save this file, save this photo, save this audio, save this video, and it would have a spot, it would actually save straight to the Android with no problem at all. So clients of mine that have had Androids know that they can do that, and I've had no problem with it. The tricky thing has been those with Apple iPhones or iPads or tablets, because before you couldn't save directly to it. So that's all changed, and with the most recent iPhones and updates, you can click download and it will save onto your phone now, which is great. It just saves all of us doing digital files sales, does a huge favor, because I've had customers even upset because they get the email that says, if you have an iPhone, be aware you can't save directly to it. And then they'd say, well, if I knew this, I would have never bought your audio. And what they're not realizing is they could have done Dropbox. And another option I'll tell you in a minute. But yeah, now you can save straight to your iPhone, your iPad, no problem at all. It saves into a folder. But what you still can do as another option, and which was the option before for iPhones and such, is you can save straight to your computer. So it doesn't matter if it's an Apple computer, it doesn't matter if it's a PC, it doesn't matter what kind of computer. If you've made your Hypnosis Audio purchase on my website, got the email confirmation, even the confirmation on the screen, as soon as you've made the purchase, there's the link right there. And you click on that link, or you click on the hyperlink in the email, both saying, here's your product, thanks for your purchase, here's your product. It takes you to a new screen. You're going to see your purchase product there. If you're on a computer of any kind, you would just click, go to Dropbox if you want. If you like Dropbox and you want to have that spot where things can all be in one spot, or you could just say download and it will download into your computer. Now, I happen to be very familiar with both Apple computers and PCs, and they both have the download folder. So let me just say that's the first place you should look for it. We get a lot of emails from people saying, your website's not working. I purchased your product, but I never received it. I clicked download, but it didn't work. I didn't get anything. Or they'll say, I clicked it several times before I read your email and saw exactly, that I only have 2 attempts and a week. So honestly, of all the emails we get, there are few questions and there's more issues with this downloading of the Hypnosis Audio. So if you click download, it's going to be in your download folder. Sometimes you might need to sort your download folder by date of an object being added or by title, but most recent would be good. In my computer, I can click, instead of on downloads, I can click on recent and I can see the most recent activity, which would include the download. Whether you're on Apple or a PC, you can search that device. So in the bottom left corner of either of these computers, you can go into the search tab and put in the word hypnosis. The word hypnosis is in every one of my hypnosis download titles. So you can put in the words hypnosis, you could put in Dawn Grant, you could put in the actual title or just a few words from the title of the product you just purchased. And you do a search on your computer and you're going to find it. And you probably have 2 copies sitting there that you didn't think you even had one. So those are all the ways to do it. And that will relieve you of a lot of frustration. Many people, I've explained all that to them and they're still frustrated and they still think they're getting scammed and that they paid for a product that they're not getting and on, which is not true. So we're usually pretty easy about renewing the amount of time or the number of downloads. So if you really just feel like you can't find it and you've done all of these things that I'm recommending to you, we don't have any problem renewing the restrictions, which will give you 2 more downloads and a whole nother week. So that, again, is one of the biggest problems that we have. And it's really just getting the word out there so that we can eliminate your frustrations and your ease of accessing your products. Now, my online courses are in what's called a DRIP. It's a subscription membership program, and it's a DRIP, meaning I didn't want people to cram course their lessons. If you're doing my online course, you're going to hear me say that a lot. The information is not meant to just, that you sit down on a Saturday and you watch every single lesson to get the facts in your brain. That's not a training process. So I emphasize the fact that my online courses are a training process. Actually, all my training is a training process. You are meant to learn the information, apply it in your life, do the homework so that you're getting the hands-on experience with that particular lesson, with that information. And you are changing yourself. Like you're going through a process then of change. That's why you contacted me. You want to change something in your life. And so I don't believe that you'll have the kind of change that you want to have if you're just getting a bunch of factoids in your brain and you're not, going along and actively stopping whatever it is that was the problem and actively starting whatever it is that you're wanting to start. So it's a training process. Therefore, you're fed one lesson at a time, and they're at a pace of one lesson per week. So that when you sign up for any of my online courses, you'll get the confirmation on the screen, you'll get the confirmation email, you'll get the hyperlink, same kind of hyperlink that you would get if you bought one of my hypnosis downloads. You're going to go to the same kind of screen that shows you what you've purchased. And with my online courses, what I've learned over the years is I actually number them. The very first line, the first words or numbers in the title of that online course from that particular week is a number, and that's so that it stays organized when you look at it. Otherwise, if I didn't put the number at the front, then it was just this hodgepodge and you didn't even know when a new lesson came in. So they're in number order. I have course 101, I have course 201, and I have course 301. Course 101 is 4 lessons, course 201 is 8, and course 301 is 8. And they're meant to be done one after the other. They build on each other. You're learning the foundation first, which is course 101 with 4 lessons. So it's 101.1, 101.2, 101.3, and 101.4. They're drip fed to you. You get one per week, and your credit card will actually get charged the fee once per week. Your credit card goes through, and let's say it was a Monday that you made your initial purchase. Then the following Monday, you get charged again, and you're given access to this next lesson. And then the following Monday, you get charged again, you get access. Now, if you made your initial purchase on a Wednesday, then your week starts again on the Wednesday, and then again Saturday, then you get the next lesson 7 days later. With the, so that's 101 with the 4 lessons. Most people buy my entire program, so it automatically goes into 201.1. Some people buy it in chunks. So if you bought just course 101, then it would be up to you to go back and buy course 201. The entire 201 is 8 lessons, and that's drip fed to you in the same way that I just mentioned. Another issue or concern that comes up is people, they have lives, right? So even though you commit to the program on a Saturday, 3 weeks later, you might be traveling somewhere, or you might not be feeling well, or you might just get super busy. Whatever it is, let's say you weren't able to do that 3rd lesson when it came in on your email. Well, the drip is still active. So 1 week later, you're going to get the next lesson. And so what if you weren't able to do your mental training for 2 weeks? Then that means that you have stockpiled a few of these lessons. And I would say still don't cram course the information. It's still important that you respect the process, that you get your money's worth, that you actually have the kind of change that you want and that you need, and that you allow the work to take you through a process, and that you apply the information and the homework still for 1 week per lesson. So if you've got stockpiled 2 lessons and you decide you got time to do it, you just do the next lesson that was in the sequence. So if you just finished, let's say 201.3 is what you finished, you took a siesta, you took a break for a few weeks, then you've got 201.4, 201.5, and maybe even 201.6 coming, and you're like, oh, I want to get back on this. Go right to the next one only, 201.4 in this example. Go right to that only, and then put yourself on pace to still stay with one lesson a week. That's the way you're going to get the most bang for your buck and the most amount of change that you really want to have, and to be really worth it. If you cram course, that's fine. You're going to get a bunch of factoids in your brain, and some of them you're going to be able to apply and some of you won't, and you'll probably forget about most of it. And especially that following week when you go to apply whatever it is that you've learned, you probably won't have much luck because you didn't empower yourself through that change, through the training and through the homework. So that's how the drip works. That's how you access it. When each week, when the credit card goes through, you get the new email, and the new email tells you that your new lesson is available. You go right back to the same exact hyperlink that was in your confirmation email. It's also in each new email that you get on each week. Same link. So you're going to see the same page. You're going to see the previous lessons, and you just go down and you'll see the newest number. They're in numerical order. You'll get, with each lesson, you're going to get the video. You're going to get the, let's see, the lesson, the homework, and the PowerPoint notes. So it's 3 things that you get with each lesson that will be viewable by you. Again, looking at size of items, the PDF notes are not a huge file. That's totally downloadable, something you could save on your computer easily. And if I was doing it differently, I could email you easily. Not a problem at all. The homework is this, like sometimes 2 pages, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 pages. Again, not a big file. It's a PDF of like 5 pages. Easily able for me to email if that was the avenue I was using, or for you to save onto your computer without it taking a bunch of your storage space. But the videos, each week's lesson, the video is somewhere around 5, 6, 7 gigabytes each. That is not something that I could send you in an email. It is not something that you necessarily want to save on your computer, because if you're doing the whole online course, that's 21 lessons times 6 gigabytes each approximately. So we're at 126 gigabytes for the entire online course. That is a lot of storage, right? So the videos are only streamed. You cannot download them. You cannot save them onto your computer. Streaming means you have to have internet access. So if you're on a smartphone, a smart device, or a computer with Wi-Fi, you can stream any of the lessons in any of those places that you have Wi-Fi or internet. You cannot stream if you do not have Wi-Fi or internet. So you do have to have that. So you can download the notes and you can download the homework, but you cannot download the 6, 7, or 8 gigabyte video. Now, some people, and it's not very many, have been upset about that. They feel like they've purchased the lessons and they want to download them, but they don't really typically make much of a stink about it. What you're paying for is access to the material. It is all copywritten anyways. And the way that I have it set up is you can rewatch the lessons as many times as you like, as long as your subscription is active and for a period of time after. So I want you to feel like you can rewatch the videos. I actually encourage people to rewatch them so they can really get the information in their head. So you have a whole week with one lesson if you're staying on track to rewatch the lesson as many times as you'd like. Some people, let me just say also, with the video being 6, 7, or 8 gigabytes, the entire process of making these videos and these online courses. So let me just break it down for you. Obviously, I create the PowerPoint presentation on the front, and I sit down and I make the recording, which is, let's just say, about 2 hours. After the recording is made, it actually then needs to go to the computer where the editing can be done. It takes about 2 hours for that video to go up into the cloud and over to the computer that can edit and produce that video. So it takes 2 hours to go up into that. The editing of the video can take approximately 30 to 45 minutes. Once the video is edited and complete, the video then has to be produced, which turns it into an MP4 file, like a movie file. The production of a 2-hour video takes about 3 hours. So after that, it needs to go up into my, sorry, just had a thought about how I'm not wired on a microphone, but I'm sure you guys can hear me fine. It goes up into, again, a cloud, which is related to my website. And the platform I'm using that holds these super large files where, like I just said, I've just purchased another 300 gigabytes of storage. So we're at 600 gigabytes of storage in this platform that allows for the holding and the dripping and the purchasing, like all that whole dance is done by a website platform. It takes, after the 2 hours of production, it takes another 2 to 3 hours to get it up into that website cloud, that platform. Once, oh wait, no, I skipped something. We upload it into an FTP because most websites can't receive that large of a file. So it takes 2 to 3 hours to upload into an FTP. That's a file transferring program. So from the FTP, it's a specialty cloud where the video that's huge can sit, and then my platform that's not equipped to receive that large of a folder directly, I then import it from the FTP to here, or one of my people do that. So it comes in to the actual website. Once it's on the website, and importing from an FTP takes, I don't even know for sure, I think that's somewhere around 30 minutes. Once it's in the website, it has to then be digitized so that it can be streamed, which takes like another hour. So it's quite the process. But really my point with you is look at how difficult all that is, how big it is. You would not be able to download that size of a file very easily onto your computer, nor would you probably want that much of your storage taken up on your computer. So that's the story behind the audios, the videos. The mental training on demand is their 15-minute videos. There's about 100 right now, but I'm planning to add hundreds more. And those are videos, again, housed on that platform where you don't have to bog down your computer, and you can watch one a day, one a week, 3 a week, however it is, and that will help you to stay on track with your mental training. Okay, so enough about that. Those are the most common questions, if you could imagine, but they really are the most common questions that we get, and most of the interactions that we have. My online courses and training are very thorough, so I really get a lot of questions on them. But this dialogue with Dawn is really going to help for those people that do have questions. And I'm looking at a question right now. So it's a person using my online course for clay shooting, and she was thinking about the concepts unconscious and subconscious mind and wanted to know my thoughts on people who try and use music while shooting. I'm thinking that if you use music, your conscious mind can't really focus on the target. I've shot with and without music. Okay, so this is not only a question from this particular clay target shooter, but it's something that has come up, not a ton, but there are a lot of clay target shooters out there that listen to music deliberately in their headset. Even golfers. I can remember when I was working with PJ golfers that there were some that listened to music. Some are very religious about listening to music. Some dabble with it. Some don't even know that their buddies are doing it. They have headsets in. It's, again, with the clay shooters, they're wearing ear protection anyways. And some of the ear protection has Bluetooth in it, and they can be listening to whatever they'd like on top of having their ear protected from the sound of the shotguns going off. So one of my clients, he actually is overseas. He's working on getting into the Olympics, is religious about listening to music when he's practicing and when he's shooting. So I've had lots of conversations with him about it and lots of, back and forth and feedback from him. One of the first of all, nothing wrong with it, okay? What's happening is an attempt to keep the conscious mind busy. So as many of you already know, the conscious mind can only focus on one thing at a time. This is why, if you're leaving the house, you're in a hurry, you have to be to a meeting at a certain time, that, if your phone's ringing and you forget where you put your keys and the dogs are barking and you forgot to feed them, you have coffee and you can't really hold it all. These are all examples from my own life. My dogs, the coffee, and the phone ringing. That you start to feel overwhelmed, and there's a feeling of you're juggling too much, and you will forget things or not really have your focus on one particular thing. Like, let's say I'm on the phone and doing all of that at the same time, then I'm not really giving the person on the phone my undivided attention. And there's a way that you can recognize this. And most people are just going through life and aren't recognizing that this is what they're doing. Another good example, and it's something that I've trained myself to be mindful of, but a lot of people, when they leave their house, can't remember, when they're down the road, if they shut their garage door. And that's because they were already thinking about something else when they were in the car and backing out of the garage. So they're already thinking of something else. They weren't giving the closing of the garage door their undivided attention. And therefore they get down the road and they can't remember. Now, again, many of you may know in your subconscious mind is all of your memories. So there's actually a recording of whether that garage door closed or not. That's not going to help you when you're just trying to recall it and you're putting pressure on yourself. So what's going on there is your conscious mind can only focus on one thing at a time. It is a slow processor, so it processes things very slowly. It's very analytical. It does like the shiny penny. So if you put something in front of you that is new or exciting, the conscious mind's going to be more attracted to that than something that's routine, repetitive, and mundane. So this is a big part of what happens when you're driving down the highway. It's very mundane and repetitive, and your conscious mind can be wandered off in a bunch of different directions. Versus, I don't know, you're a golfer and you get a long putter instead of a short putter. So that's the new and shiny. And when you've got the new and shiny, it takes a lot of conscious mind attention. If you're learning to ride a bike for the first time, or the first several times, if you're learning to shoot a shotgun for the first several times, if you're learning new technique from your instructor, if you're learning technique at all from an instructor, like this is new shiny information. It takes a lot of your conscious mind attention, which if you're trying to do too much can feel overwhelming. This happens a lot with athletes when they're learning new skills or trying to change old skills that weren't working and bring in new, better ones. It can feel overwhelming and frazzled. The conscious mind is juggling so much information, the same as trying to leave the house with the coffee and the door and the dogs barking and you forgot where your keys are and whatever else. You're on the phone, you can't focus on what you're saying, like all of that. So what you can do, let me go back to the garage door. When I pull out of my garage, I actually pause and watch it go down. It's very deliberate to not get on the phone, to not already start thinking about the rest of my day. I'll actually pull out, and the period of time that I'm sitting there, I put on my seatbelt and I confirm that the garage door has gone down. Now, if I'm leaving my house and I'm in a hurry and I'm getting a phone call at the same time, I don't know where my keys are, or I want to make sure I remember everything because I have this meeting and then this meeting and I got to be here and I need all these different things to go with me for these different things. And I won't even take a phone call at that point. Or I'll tell the person I'm going to call them back because I'm heading out the door. So there are very deliberate things related to knowing that the conscious mind can only focus on one thing at a time, and that it does like the shiny penny, and that it does get bored with anything repetitive or monotonous. So let's get back to the music. If you're out there, and let's say you are a clay target shooter, and there's a few things, well, there's many things. I'm just going to give a few examples. What if you are easily distracted by the people in your squad when they're talking, or you're easily frustrated by people driving by in their ATVs, their souped up golf carts with music playing? Putting on music through your headset is a way to keep your focus on that, or to drown out the other sounds, right? So there's a lot of different reasons why somebody might do this. Some people, similar to going to work out at the gym, listen to music because it makes them feel good or amps them up. Now, I'm not going to encourage any of my clients to get amped up, because I believe in a calm focus, undivided attention with calm deliberateness and focus, and not too amped up. But some personalities feel like they like to be amped up, so they'll put on like hard rock music, and it just gets what they feel like is their adrenaline flowing, or their focus, their attention is more, let's say, aggressive. Some people will put on some of their most favorite songs. They'll have a happy playlist. What songs make me feel good? What songs make me feel my best? What songs boost my confidence? What songs just make me feel good? And so they'll have a playlist of these feel good songs that helps their body to feel good. Now, I'm all for that too, because feeling good, being in your happy place, is all of that good energy. And again, I teach a lot on the cause and effect between the mind and the body. If you're having negative thoughts, then your body's going to feel negative, and you actually can feel weak, and you can lose a lot of your strength, but it also attacks your immune system and all these other things. You're having happy thoughts, then the cause and effect relationship in the body is you feel good, and you have energy, and you have endurance, and you have strength. And that's what I would say what happens when you're listening to what you consider to be happy music. Now, that's different for everybody. Like, what you think is happy music isn't what somebody else thinks is happy music. And what you think is feel-good music isn't necessarily what somebody else thinks is feel-good music. So it's all about you, and you finding the music that works for you. But here's the next thing. Let's say that you listen to the same playlist or the same song over and over again. It will too become boring, monotonous, and mundane. There's no way around it. It lost its shiny penny effect. So with music having the shiny penny effect, you're much more conscious with it. And that's a way to keep your conscious mind in the here and now, because what you are hearing in that song is the here and now. So it's a way to bring in your conscious mind. So you're not thinking about steak dinner. You're not thinking about your score. You're not thinking about a previous round or previous event. You're not thinking about the people around you. You're not thinking about, the what ifs. What if you win this? It's a way, it's not foolproof, but it's a way to keep your conscious mind in that moment, and what happens to be the music, and listen to the words of the music and the song and the feel good of it. But after doing that many times, and there isn't, I wouldn't say there's a set amount of time, I'm not gonna say it's a week or 2 weeks or a month. After repetition, that song or songs are going to lose their stronghold on you. And they're not going to have the same level of effect. So just know that and be aware of it, and know that if you're going to do the music, if you want to go that route with using music, and I'm just going to go back to the question here. Concepts, unconscious, subconscious mind. I want to know your thoughts on people who try and use music while shooting. So those are my thoughts related to people who try and use music for shooting. I'm thinking that if you use music, your conscious mind can't really focus on the target. Okay, so if you're using the music for all of these different things I just explained, there would be some benefit. Now, somebody who's got mind mastery, who I would say has gone through my program, has learned the information, has applied the information, is skilled at applying the information, they're going to need less of these Band-Aid tools to help them to be focused, or let's say to help them not be annoyed when the golf cart goes by, to not be distracted by movement or conversation of other people, to not be pulled away by their own thoughts related to score or outcomes or previous rounds or stands or holes. So someone who's got some good mental strength, a good mind game, a good mental game, is going to have less issue with those things affecting them and less need for a Band-Aid like music. That doesn't mean they can't play music because they love it, makes them feel good. That's totally fine and totally different. If you're so focused on the music, meaning I'm listening to every single word, or if the music brings about frustration or anxiousness, then it will affect your ability to focus on the target. If it's just kind of playing in the background because it's feel good and just drowns out some of the noise around you or whatever, you can still focus on the target very well. So your conscious mind can only focus on one thing at a time. You can choose to focus on the music. You can choose to focus on the target. And again, with good mental strength, a good mind game, and what I teach people, you would be able to do that. You'd be able to go focus here, no, focus there. That reminds me of another thing that's come up a lot, and that's with shooters who believe that they have to be careful when they're in the zone, like for the amount of time they're in the zone, because it can be exhausting, because it can seem like it wears them out, that they can step into the zone when they're in the stand, but then when they leave the stand, they have to get out of the zone again. They hope they can get back in it, this on-off switch thing. And I would say, again, for someone who's going through my program, who is doing the training, getting through the training, implementing what I'm teaching, having the transformation, then you stay in the zone most of your life. It doesn't matter what you're doing in that day. It doesn't matter what you're doing from 8 to 9 o'clock, from 10 to 12 o'clock, from 1 to 3, from 4 to 6, from 7 to 8. Your ability to have peak human performance is the same. Your ability to be in the zone and be your best self is the same, whether it's your 8 to 9 o'clock activity, or your 7 to 8 o'clock activity, or 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. activity, or your noon to 3 activity, or your 8 a.m. to noon activity. Your best self and your ability to be in the zone where you have your peak performance is available to you all day long. I'm not going to say you can stay in the zone 100% of the time, because by nature of even somebody that I've trained, there are times you're going to reflect on the past deliberately. There are times you're going to think about the future deliberately. There are times that you're going to analyze what's happening right now deliberately. And those particular examples, past perception channel, future projections channel, overanalyzing, there's benefit to the fact that your conscious mind can do those things. So you can make plans, so you can learn from the past, so you can apply what you've learned moving forward. There's benefit to that. And so anytime that you use your conscious mind in that capacity, you're not in the zone. But with my training, I teach you to do that in small doses on purpose and deliberate rather than a majority of the time. So thinking that, so the fact then that a person can know how to be in and out of the zone at will, notice what is happening in their mind when they are out of the zone, knowing how to put themselves back in the zone, knowing how to be in the zone a majority of the time and whatever activity they're participating in, says that that person knows how to give their focus, their undivided attention, their single focus conscious mind. They know how to put that on whatever it is that they're choosing to focus upon. They know how to put that undivided attention, their full focus on whatever. And if it happens to be a clay target flying through the air and they still have music playing in their head, that's absolutely fine. It will not keep them from focusing on the target. It would only keep them from focusing on the target if they're putting their undivided attention on the music. Again, somebody who has less skill related to their mind might do that, but it's actually more likely that the song has become somewhat repetitive, somewhat mundane, somewhat boring, and then it's more of just being heard from the subconscious mind and not being focused on by the conscious mind. Okay, I have another question here. Actually, I have a few of them, so let me see which we're going to go with because we are running out of time. So what you're going to do is email me any questions that you have, and that's your way of getting your questions in and getting me to answer them. Sorry, I'm digging through a bunch. I'm trying to, oh, so in one of my, okay. So there's a lesson that I have related to the 4 options of resistance and acceptance. So you say there are 4 modes of response. That's really my 4 options of resistance or acceptance. Of the ones that are helpful, there is acceptance and there is resignation. Yes, actually, yes, acceptance and resignation. Isn't there an in-between? For example, if someone tells you they don't like what you're eating, but you have it anyway, and tell them, thank you for that, but I'm not changing anything. Where does that fall? Is it acceptance, since you're not going to change anything about yourself? So this particular example, I would say it's actually more about whether the other person is going to accept your eating or not. So this particular example, it's not really the bigger challenge is whether that other person can accept what you're eating. So so this particular person is saying, but you know, that the other person doesn't really like what I'm eating. I'm going to eat it anyways, and I'm not going to change anything. And is this about acceptance? So there's a level of acceptance of self, like, yeah, I accept that I like this, and this is how I want to eat, and this is the person that I am, and I have free will, and I'm choosing that. It's actually, you know, I like to give extreme examples. it's actually the same as someone who might have an addictive personality. It's somebody who is choosing to do drugs. And, you know, even though there is this addiction element, it's a choice that that person has. And not everybody's going to like that choice, especially their loved ones, right? But the acceptance comes from, and again, in this example, you know, yes, you accept that this is who you are and this is what you want and this is what you're going to continue to do. But the bigger acceptance issue or challenge is related to the other person. And is that other person who's trying to change you, they're telling you that they don't like what you're eating. Basically, they don't want you eating it and they want to get you to stop. They have the bigger challenge. They have the bigger struggle in figuring out, you know, am I going to be okay with biting my tongue and accepting that you have free will, you have the right to eat whatever you would like, you have, yeah, and that it's none of my business, and that yes, I can express it. Like, let's say I really care about somebody, and they have issues with diabetes, and let's say I'm that other person, and I know that this person is struggling with diabetes or has health issues, and I'm watching them eat something that I know is likely, because I don't know for sure, every body is different, every human body is different and how it processes things, but you know, I might have the perception that if they eat this certain item, then it can be dangerous to them. If I really care about that person, the only thing I can do, the only right thing that I can do is say, it worries me when you eat that way, or I really love you and I would love for you to have a long, healthy life. And so, you know, I'm just concerned when you eat these types of things. And that's it. Like, you put it out there, and the other person has free will. They have free will to decide if they're going to keep eating the same thing, or maybe try to alter their eating habits, or maybe not eat that item at that time, or maybe never eat that item again, or whatever. But that's up to the eater, right? So you can, in a healthy way, respectfully share your opinion or your concern, but then you've got to back off. You've got to be able to back off and be like, to each their own. This is how I feel. This is how the other person feels. They may or may not change. I don't really want to nag them. I don't want to, you know, revolve my life around what they're doing or not doing. There's actually a lot of codependency in that of, you know, I'm only happy if this person's doing what I want them to do. And I'm unhappy when this person's not doing what I think they should be doing. So the acceptance in this example, this question is more, the bigger challenge is for the person who's trying to change you, who's trying to get you to not eat that item anymore. And, you know, if it ends up being a deal breaker for that person, then so be it. But if, you know, you have free will, and even your acceptance of that's where this person is at, they don't want me eating this. I understand that. I accept that that's where they are, but I'm just not interested in doing anything different. So acceptance is kind of all over in a few different ways in that particular question, but the biggest way is related to the one who's trying to change the other person. And then making sure that you're not then trying to change back, change that other person back. So a very big and important example of how acceptance plays into our lives. Okay, well, that is it for this edition of Dialogue with Dawn. And thank you for tuning in. Definitely submit your questions, and I'll be happy to answer them right here and to interact with you in each of these live sessions. And I'll chat with you again soon, or see you at a competition or at my shotgun club or something. See you soon.